I was camping in our Pecos Wilderness during Memorial Weekend, having a great old time, and got a call that my son was injured.
The mission that we were anticipating we were going to get that day wasn't customary. It wasn't the type of mission that we generally do.
It was a very unique mission in the sense that it was a rare daylight raid. It was in an area that we did not have a lot of U.S. presence in, but we knew that it was an opportunity to strike hard against the enemy and an enemy network that was worth it.
I mean, we were all really pumped up about it because it seemed like there was going to be action happening.
Leading into the morning of the assault, we had a fix on the location of our targeted individual.
Everybody had that same sense of we needed to get business done. We knew this was an opportunity and it was a fleeting target, and this was the reason why we're going.
We went out, we loaded on the helicopters. I just remember usually you can't see the Rangers' faces because it's usually dark when we get in those things. And just the blank stares that was on everybody's face, because that level of comfort we usually have when we go in at night just wasn't there.
As soon as we landed, we started to receive enemy contact. And as that was going on, Rangers do what Rangers do best. That's neutralize and destroy the enemy. To be able to look fear and danger right in the eyes and be able to say, hey, let's get ready to take care of business.
There was actually a decision made to split the force, which kind of changed the dynamic of how we were going to assault the primary target.
First squad was clearing another building, and I was in third squad at the time, and Sergeant Petrie was the weapons squad leader, and he was with us.
Petrie was up there with that squad. He was up there in charge of that element as they moved in.
Many situations where we have troops in contact at close quarters like that are resolved very quickly. It was apparent from this one that this was drawn out. This was different. There's no question about it.
Me and Specialist Gathercole were clearing underneath, and Sergeant Petrie and Robinson went back to clear the chicken coop and whatever was in the courtyard. So when we were down in the basement, we got the call that Sergeant Petrie and Robinson were both hit.
We were actually back clearing into the compound, and I remember seeing the guy out of my peripheral vision. Two guys with AKs at their hip, just spraying, and one happened to strike me right in the thighs. And I didn't know I was hitting both thighs, but it hit my left thigh. And I ran for cover, leading out in front of PFC Robinson, who was behind me, and he was struck right in his rib cage on his left side.
I got out there first. I noticed that Petrie was shot through the legs, and Robinson was laid out on the ground, and I immediately took out a tourniquet because I was going to throw that on Sergeant Petrie's legs. And then that's when a grenade came over the wall, and that kind of blasted me and Robinson, and that's where I got knocked out. Sergeant Roberts and Specialist Gathercole came out, and they started engaging those two guys that were throwing the grenade. And then Specialist Gathercole was shot.
When I came in the front door of this compound where they're at, I see Staff Sergeant Roberts dragging another one of our guys into the back door. And there's like a trail of blood. He's all bloody all over his face. I said, who's this? And he's like, it's Gator. I'm like, all right, what do we got? He's like, we got 4 Eagles wounded. They're getting ready to put them on the litter. And I asked the medic, I said, hey doc, do we need to put his helmet on for transport? At the same time, it was Sergeant Bates, our company senior medic, looked up at me and just kind of went like, hey, this guy's not gonna make it.
When I turned around, and another grenade was pretty much right behind me and Robinson, and we were looking this way shooting at this guy, and the grenade landed right there, and Sergeant Petrie lunged for it. He grabbed it and was throwing it around the wall, and I saw it go off, and then he came back, and his hand was gone.
I could tell you that what kind of went through my mind, and if I could kind of show you with the prosthetic that I have.
Yeah.
This thing comes off, but it was literally just cut right off at the wrist. There was a little bit of meat skirt, so to speak, for lack of better words, hanging around the edges, and it was oozing. I could see the radius and the ulna bone sticking up maybe about a ½ inch. It was vivid where I could see the black marks from where burns were, and a little bit of the dirt and the smell of still explosives. And I sat up and I grabbed it. And it's a little strange, but this is what went into my mind was, why isn't this thing spraying off into the wind like in Hollywood? And then right away just got back to reality. Oh crap, got to put a tourniquet on it, which we keep tourniquets on the outside of our kit. And I grabbed that and I was able to tie it down, and because of the good medic training that I got when I was going through the courses, but stopped the bleeding.
As I was running between the two buildings, Sergeant Petrie himself called me up on the radio and said, my hand is gone. And I said, I'm on my way.
First guys that ran up to me was a first sergeant. He ran toward me and he grabbed me in an attempt to say, hey, come on, we're going to get you out of here. And I said, no, you're not going to take me anywhere until you kill those guys and stop the volume of fire they're laying down on us.
Just the fact that he was still throwing grenades at the enemy, like, I mean, that's awesome right there.
The younger guys next to me were kind of still in shock and awe, so maintaining control, maintaining awareness, trying to remain calm so that they stay calm, radioed up the status and, hey, you guys okay? And just making sure that staying in control of the situation.
Really, when I went back and I looked at what happened, like, I think he saved my life twice, really. You know, definitely with the grenade that was behind me.
It is very awe-inspiring when you hear about a guy that doesn't think about it, you know, and it goes back to that same thing that I would say, you know, in our creed, never leaving a fallen comrade. You know, to be in a position where, you know, you're kind of pinned down, you're receiving direct fire, you're under, you know, attack from enemy grenades, and when you're faced with a situation that's dangerous like that, that a Ranger will take his safety, put it aside, and execute without even action, without any guidance, to save 2 other Rangers, that is very powerful.
Finally, the service of Leroy Petrie speaks to the very essence of America. That spirit that says no matter how hard the journey, no matter how steep the climb, we don't quit. We don't give up. Leroy lost a hand, and those wounds in his legs sometimes make it hard for him to stand. But he pushes on and even joined his fellow Rangers for a grueling 20-mile march. He could have focused only on his own recovery, but today he helps care for other wounded warriors, inspiring them with his example. Given his wounds, he could have retired from the Army with honor, but he chose to re-enlist. This is the stuff of which heroes are made. This is the strength, the devotion that makes our troops the pride of every American. And this is the reason that, like a soldier named Leroy Petrie, America doesn't simply endure, we emerge from our trials stronger, more confident, with our eyes fixed on the future. Our heroes are all around us, saluting one of those heroes, Leroy Petrie.
When you say hero, I think of all the men out there giving their lives and their families being behind them 100%.
But he had that character in him to help other people, and that's what he did. He cared about other people. So at the time what he did, he knew, I think he was really, like he had told me before, Dad, I was doing my job. I was taking care of my fellow soldiers.